So just be comfortable, relax. And feel what is here. Feel what's here. What is it that's here? What is this? It's right here. What is it? It's always here, isn't it? What is it that's here? It's actual, right? You can feel it. Can't possibly be described. Can't possibly be figured out. But here it is. It's real. It's actual. You can feel it. You can look at it. You can check it out. The field of vision is here, isn't it? What's it feel like? What does vision feel like? What texture does it have? Just feel your field of vision and feel what it feels like. What is it? How is it here? Are you having to do it? Are you having to put it here? Is there any work involved? Any effort? Or does it just show up? It's just here, very strangely. Field of sensation is here, right? You feel your body, you feel your skin tingling, right? You feel your chair on the chair against your butt. Feel your clothes, feel whatever it is it seems to be feeling. What is that that's really here? We have all these words for what it is. What is it? What's it feel like? Just feeling the sensation. What does it feel like? What is it that's here? What is sensation? What is it? It's real, it's actual. What is it? Sound is here. Sound is in your field of experience. What is sound? Such a range. Just feeling sound. What is it? All this that's here, all of this, this present. This is present. No, it's present. It's actually present. What is it that's present? How is it present? What does presence mean? What is this presence? What is it that's present? Just feeling it. What is it? What does presence feel like? Plenty of chairs if you want to move around, if you're happy over there.
There's empty chairs.
You know, look at them.
Move in.
So just feel your experience. Feel what is here. Feel what is present. What is it that's here? Don't meditate, don't try and be special, don't try to go into some kind of a trance. Just feel what's here. It's always here. It's completely normal, completely same as it always is. What is it? What is it that's here? You can feel it, can't you? You can feel this actuality, this presence. You can't say what it is. You can't even find it, right? But it never goes away. It's just right here, everywhere. Where is here? This is here, but where is that? Where is here? What is here in? What's here made of? What is this presence, this actuality made of? What is sound made of? What is light made of? What is thought made of? Just feel it. Feel thought. What is it? What is thought? Feel it. It's very strange. It has a very amazing texture. Where is it? Where is thought? It's right here. But where is that? Notice how this just does itself. It keeps doing itself. It never stops. It never lets up. Completely effortless. Completely easy. Completely spontaneous. But it's completely alive. It always puts all of this content present. All of this light is always shining. All of this sound is always here. All this sensation always tingling. All this thought always wafting through. All this energy and all the areas of experience just spontaneously here, effortlessly, from nowhere. Just here. Actual. Completely real. Completely present. What is it? What is it that's here? Just feel it. What is it that's here? Don't classify it. Don't name it. Naming it doesn't say what it is. It just puts sounds on it. What is it that's here? It's so inconceivably detailed, so inconceivably intelligent, so inconceivably meaningful. But makes no sense. Can't say what it is. And just completely normal. Just like always. Always here. Never goes away. Always looks different. Always presents different information. But it's always exactly the same. Right? Never comes, never goes. Just you here. Like always. What is you here? What is that? Feel it. What is you here? What is that you feel? What is it? It's so subtle. So obvious. Completely alive, completely vibrant, completely tingling. Every portion of it. Without limit, without boundaries, without walls, without edges. Just feel it. Feel what's here. Feel the actuality of it, the normalcy of it. It's real. It's completely real, just like always. This is what reality is. This is what you are. What is it? Just feel this presence. Thing happens by itself. All the patterns of light you see just show up. How does that happen? All the sounds just show up. How does that happen? All the thought just shows up. How does that happen? Just feel what experience feels like. Feel what is here. Feel what is present. Feel what is actual. It's you. You are here. Just like always. What is it? Feel what it is. You can't ever say what it is. But you can feel it. It's real. It's completely obvious. It's astounding. It's inconceivable. Completely miraculous. Doing itself, coming from nowhere. Doing the entire universe. Just right here. Just you here like always. You don't need to be special with it. You can't make it go away. It doesn't get improved when you are calm. It doesn't get damaged when you're agitated. You can't affect it. You can't change what this is. It's completely invulnerable. Completely independent. Always right here. Where you are, right here. Completely obvious, completely unthinkable. What is it? What is this? What is this presence? Feel this presence. What is it you're feeling? How can you feel it? You can't not feel that. You are it. You are this presence. Just like always, you are here. Here you are. What is it that's here? What is it that you're feeling? What is it? Whatever happens doesn't change it. It always looks different. Sometimes you see one thing, sometimes you see another thing. Sometimes you hear one sound, sometimes you hear another sound. Sometimes you think some thoughts, sometimes you think other thoughts. Sometimes you feel one thing. But it's always you here, isn't it? Always you here. What is it that's here? What is it that's always here? All this is known. This presence is known. How is that? All this is seen, all this is heard, all this is felt. How is that? What is this that's here? You are here. It's like always, nothing but you here. So meditate, don't let yourself trance out. Just feel this experience that's present. Just feel this normalcy. Here you are. You don't need to be special with regard to it. You don't need to be calm or seated in some kind of a funny posture. You can open your eyes, look around, you can move, just like always. And here you are. You never go away. It never changes. But what is it? What is this? What is it that looks like all this? What is it that sounds like all this? What is it that feels like all this? What is it? Just feel it. So amazing, so beautiful. It's like a symphony. All this information, all these qualities, this dancing, vibrating in experience. Right here. Just feel what's here. Feel what is present. It doesn't have sections, does it? It doesn't have parts. It doesn't have walls. It doesn't have edges. It doesn't have boundaries. It's just here. And it's everything. Isn't it? It's you here. And it's real. It's actual. Just like always. This that's right here, this that you're feeling, this that you always are feeling, this that you're never doing anything else but feeling, is what all the fuss is about. This is what spirituality is about. This is the yoga of radiant presence. This actual presence here. It is present, actually. It is radiant. It presents as infinite qualities, unstoppably, dynamically. Endless patterns, endless infinite patterns of light, endless infinite patterns of sound, endless infinite patterns of thought, endless infinite patterns of all kinds of experiential qualities, experiential vibrations that we don't have names for. Non-stop, coming from nowhere, going to nowhere, just shining here in this presence that is you. That is reality, that is normalcy. And this is what all the fuss is about. Ordinarily, as people, we're very concerned about the details of our life, the stories, what's happening, who's doing what's going on tomorrow, what am I getting, what am I avoiding, what am I trying to do, what are other people trying to do, what do I think, what do other people think, what do I feel, what do other people feel, all this stuff. And how often do we just notice what's present here, what's actually present? What is all of that, actually, that we tell such stories about? What is it that's here? It's just the field of your experience, isn't it? Is there ever anything here but the field of your experience? Have you ever seen anything? Have you ever experienced anything other than the field of your experience? And what is it? What is the field of your experience? It's very, very strange. We take it completely for granted because it's so normal, so ordinary. But if you take the trouble, take the time to look at it itself, at experience itself, it's very, very, very strange. It's amazing. It's unimaginable, undescribable. And yet it's what you really are. It's what's really happening here. This infinite bubble of transcendental presence. It presents us all of these infinite qualities. That's all there is, right? It's all you can ever find, and that's just you. But it's actual, right? It's real. It's right here. It's available. It's present. You can explore it. You can check it out. You can study it. It proves it shows what it is. It's not hidden, right? The presence of what is here is not hidden at all. It's completely revealed. It's completely open and exposed. And you can explore it and check it out as much as you want, and you'll see quite clearly what it is. You won't ever be able to say what it is. But you can certainly see it in all of its astounding aspects.
Peter, can you speak to more It's All You?
Sure. I mean, there's this field of presence, right, that you may call your experience, and everything is in it, right? Everything that you've ever seen or experienced, of course, is in it, and you can't find anything outside of it. How could you leave your experience? It can't happen. And yet, you are your experience, you know, because you are this field that everything appears in. When you go to sleep, everything, you know, their body disappears, the world disappears, but the field of experience doesn't disappear, which is you. You don't disappear. And you start dreaming and there's a new body and a new world and new situations, but the field of experience is right there. You haven't gone anywhere. Then the dream goes away, and there's no more dream body, no more dream world, but the field of experience is still there. You haven't gone anywhere. And then you wake up, and all of a sudden there's a body and a world and situations and circumstances appearing in the field of experience, which is just exactly the same as it was when you were asleep, when you're dreaming. And you can't find any you as a partial thing other than the field of experience. Right? The field of experience is sentient. The field of experience experiences itself. It experiences what all the qualities that seem to show up within it, right? It's just what's actual. this bubble of your experience. That's you.
Because the abstractions or the interpretations that are superimposed upon the raw phenomena, whatever that phenomenon is. Sort of the interplay between materiality or the sensory world and mind. Many different aspects of that and so forth. Literature. In your retreat teaching, you very clearly said this is real, it is actual, but what it is not an abstraction.
Yeah.
So
there's actually no such thing as an abstraction. Thought is real. Thought is actual experience. Vision is real. Vision is actual experience. That thought pretends to be referential, so thought pretends to be about things, but that occurrence is a genuine experience. It's not genuine in the terms that it pretends to be. Thought isn't actually about anything, but thought is present, that's actual, and when interpretation or belief is present, you call it confusion, where you suppose, what you're calling an overlay, that's actual, it's an actual experience. But it's nothing other than an actual experience of transcendental presence. The mistake is to suppose that the interpretations are accurate or about anything.
I would call the relentless appearance of thingness, of absolute objectivity.
Sure.
Things appearing as concrete and separate, which what seems to be behind the sentence.
Well, things are concrete in the sense that the experiential patterns are actually present.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
I see you, I'm seeing patterns of color, I'm seeing dimensions, I'm hearing, the sound that I'm calling the sound of your voice. These are actual presences. And they are actual, but they are not things because they are not finite. In other words, I can't tell what they are. I can experience what they are, but I can't find. They're unlimited. They are infinite quantities of information that is unresolvable into coherence. See what I mean? So they are actual. They are objective, They are, as real as it gets, but they aren't anything in particular. Or you can't say what they are because you can't resolve them into some this or that is definable. It is finite. It is that you can differentiate.
During your exercise tonight, there's like a softening of how the boundary, the sense of boundaries and the sense of thingness sort of takes a backseat to just the radiance of it.
Because the sort of thingness, the mental activity or the mental sort of belief structures that suppose things are finite and simple and actual and just inertly there, inertly objective, is a dynamic exercise of mind, but it's relatively small. When you, like this kind of an exercise, the tendency is to go more into the full field, and when you go into the more of the full field, then the portion of the consciousness which is exercising that, reifying of concrete things, reifying of seemingly finite objects, recedes as a relatively small part of the field, which it is. It is there, it is real, but it's only real as a relatively small, call it a subsystem within the vast field of actuality. So that's why it seems to soften. It doesn't need to cease. It's not a problem. It's just a it doesn't, because it doesn't have any effect other than itself. It doesn't actually make limited things just because it's pretending to. Just because it's claiming to, it doesn't actually create limitation, because there is no limitation. There's nothing but infinity.
The other day I saw this being, just an example to bring this home. And there's a sense of this person is so in a different world, so not just out of my reach, but it's just a sense of profound separation that I can, if not even inhabit the same world system as this being. And it just brings to mind all of the rejections and so in order, I would assume, I'm sure lots understood, the deeper the energetic radiant aspect of this is noticed, the more those types of lingering fixations dissolve.
Yeah, they dissolve because the radiance is more primal than them, more actual than them, and they are, as you become more sensitized to perceiving radiance as it actually is, then you perceive that these psychological and emotional subsystems are also nothing other than radiance. So they recede. It's like with a mirage. When you notice that a mirage is just light, the notion that a mirage is water on the desert or something just recedes in relevance, because you're seeing that it's not really water, it's just light. And likewise, this is why the direct experience of radiance, the direct experience of experience itself, experiencing itself, which is an actuality, which is the only actuality, acts as a solvent which dissolves the apparent solidity and relevance of all of these psychological and conceptual subsystems, because they are seen to consist of nothing but this, which is more primary, more primal, more fundamental. And that's why that's why they aren't problems that need to be solved, or that need to have antidotes applied to them to correct them, because they dissolve in their own nature simply by seeing what they actually are, i.e. seeing what they're actually composed of. I mean, this is why it's so valuable and so powerful to discover experience itself, and then you discover everything that appears within experience is nothing other than experience. You're going right to the ground itself, which of course is an actuality, is real, and it's accessible, so it's doable. It's not some great, mighty abstraction that you have to, train for lifetimes to access. It's completely available. It's right here. Experience is totally obvious. We overlook it because of our distraction with all of these elaborations that we suppose to be actual and important. But they are nothing other than elaborations of experience, of the radiance.
In light of the Buddha, Dzogchen says that eons of darkness are illuminated by one single candle.
Yeah. A room can have been in darkness for thousands of years, and as soon as you bring a light into the room, instantly, bang, the darkness is gone. It doesn't need, not like the darkness needs to be dismantled and carried out. And it's very analogous, We don't, we undervalue experience. We are fixated on what seems the circumstances that we think are actually happening within experience, but we think of experience as a non-entity. Whereas in actuality, experience is the actual entity. It's completely ass backwards the way people ordinarily hold it. And when you discover that, when you discover the actuality of experience as an actual thing, an actual condition, palpable, that you and everything is actually made of, then things fall into place. It's like an optical illusion that suddenly assumes its proper dimension, and all of a sudden you can see what's actually here.
Well, you say that, radiance, using your term, the inherent pizzazz of being, it is sort of imputed onto objects or associated.
It's sort of what, sorry?
Imputed onto objects.
Well,
when one sees something that's beautiful, that beauty is not in the thing. It's not in the thing, but not limited to the thing, but
right.
There's a fixation on the thing as like the source.
Yeah. Well, it's very simple. There is all of this experiential quality, all of which is miraculously present transcendental energy. You can't say what it is. What is light? What is sound? What is this vibration within experience? They are just miraculously present, and the very nature of them is that they present as infinitely patterned. And then the consciousness, by its very nature, generates a certain amount of intrinsic analysis, analytic mode, and so it looks at these patterns and sort of clumps them together into sort of similarities, and then a more conceptual mode comes in and starts naming these patterns. And we have a picture, we have a human being, we have a rug, we have a computer, we have all this stuff. But all those are names of sort of sets of patterning, and the sets of patterning are nothing other than arbitrarily demarcated portions of a continual field of patterning. If you look at what you're seeing, all you're seeing is a full field of vision. You're not seeing any objects. There's no specialness in the field. Everything is equally present, right? But then the consciousness comes along and, sort of conceptually draws an outline around that and says that's a statue, and conceptually draws an outline around that and says that's a person, and conceptually draws an outline around that and says that's a telephone. But when I draw an outline around a telephone in imagination, I'm not actually separating this from this in the field of vision. They're equally present. And there's no them. It's not a this and a that. It's just this. If you look at what's actually present in vision, it is the field of vision, right? I mean, self-evidently. You close your eyes, everything disappears as a unit. It doesn't disappear a piece at a time. When you open your eyes, it doesn't. When you wake up in the morning, it's not like this appears and then that appears, but the whole world just sort of goes. And here it is. If you close your eyes, everything disappears at once. There's only one thing present in the field of vision, and that's the field of vision, right? And likewise, and it never comes and goes. It just changes. Like you close your eyes, and the field of vision is still completely full. It's just has a different character. It's full of these infinitely fine little sprinkles and twinkles and whatever, right? But it's still a full field of vision. So the objects are abstracted. They're imputed as separate entities out of the field when it's actually just a full field. It's just like, say you're looking at a TV and you say, oh, that's a news commentator and they're sitting at a desk and that's the background, you say the weather map behind them. And there's no person there. There's no desk. There's no weather map. It's just patterns of sprinkles on a single screen. And yet the analytic intelligence, the abstracting intelligence, effortlessly looks at these patterns and groups them into sets and says, oh, this is Michael, this is a napkin, this is a cushion. But the cushion is not separate from the carpet next to it. It's the same light. The light coming from the cushion doesn't know it's a cushion. The light coming from the floor doesn't know it's a floor. It's just light.
So ultimately, that is perpetuated by nothing other than lack of examination.
Yes, it's just all. It's very, very simple. And this abstracting faculty is not actually a problem because these objects that are being abstracted are not actually being separated, or not actually being created as actual entities when I do that. Like when I say, oh, that's a phone and sitting on a table, I haven't actually created a phone. I haven't actually separated from a table within.
There's so much emphasis of tuning in and noticing the radiance, and there's no comfort. There's no need to put one thing, or hold one thing as superior to another, one state, one samadhi. It's all the same field.
Yeah, because it isn't, because it intrinsically is that.
That's right.
And then you notice that is the case. It's simply a matter of, it's just a reality check. It's just, okay, what's really happening here? And okay, the field of experience is what's really happening. And then all of these interpretations are basically hypotheses about that, within that, and the hypothesizing mechanism is itself appearing within that. It's all an in-house event, and nothing is being added, nothing is being changed.
Water into water into water.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I thought of an example, like a baby or like a young child, like he or she will see everything as a toy, and then maybe they'll see other kids as cool, or maybe they'll see other adults like, it's just they don't see, but it's very basic. What they see is just what makes them happy or makes them sad, and then they're more in tune with what Peter's talking about, I think, because they're just enjoying experience without all the names, all the categories and all the extra stuff, and they're just enjoying. So they're just seeing the field of vision, and then they're not really clinging on to everything and latching on to everything. They're just kind of going through and enjoying it from their own inner perspective. And if they see anything, they probably just think it's a toy. And if their mom gets sad, they're probably gonna cry. And it's just I just think that that's a good example for what we're talking about.
Yeah, well put. Yeah. It's really when we and the sort of the hidden, the hidden value or the value added, the real punchline of all of this is that it turns out that all of our problems and challenges and limitations and partialities and sufferings come into existence through this process of defining what is present in the field of experience. In the field of experience itself, there's no problems whatsoever. There's no separation, there's no limitation, there's no challenges even. And so by noticing and becoming sensitive to direct access to the actual field of experience as it is, one discovers that one is beyond problems, one is complete, one is full, one is never lacking, one can never gain anything, And so all of the human turmoil and drama that we typically are tossed around by just is rendered irrelevant and absurd.
Peter, can I tell you something important to me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only thing that I've been really afraid of lately, like, that really is becoming lost. I feel like I'm already lost in my own perceptive ways of viewing things and thinking about things. I feel like my mind is my own, like, limitation and trap, and like I'm not free, and I won't, and I tell myself, oh, I'm gonna go to hell, or I'm not free, or a piece of me's over here, I need to do this, and I feel like I don't have the answers to anything, and I don't know how or what anything really is, and I'm the kind of guy who likes to know things and how to do things before I do it.
Right.
So, and I'm a very inquisitive, like, overthinking, very.
Yeah.
I love putting puzzles together, and I'm totally lost in my mind most of the time, and
Sure.
I'm totally, so.
Sure.
I get scared.
Well, the trick is,
myself, I'm scared of myself
yeah,
in my own mind.
but you have to understand you have two minds. The one mind is the thinking mind that you're just talking about. That's a challenge. But the other mind is the incredible intelligence that happens just in your experiencing.
Yeah.
Like just when you see, just seeing light is an exercise of incredible intelligence. I mean, how do you do that? You walk, say you walk into a room with your eyes closed and you open your eyes, instantly you see everything in the room. I mean, that's power, man. That's showing off. That's an exercise of amazing intelligence and competence. But it's not a rational incompetence. We don't think of it. We don't even think we're doing it. We do it effortlessly.
Yeah.
And right now, your intelligence is regulating your heartbeat. It's regulating your blood pressure. It's digesting your dinner. It's all that stuff is being done very deliberately by what you are, by the inherent intelligence that you consist of. And that's you too, and that's your mind too. And that mind is not a problem. That mind is not a challenge. And that mind is always, you always are that mind, you always have access to it, and so that mind is an enormous ally. And again, it's easy to get distracted by our thinking mind, by the rational mind, because, we're in our society, everyone is tripping on that. Everyone is, paying all attention to what we're saying and what we're doing. But that's really only a part of the story, because behind that, there's this vast sea of incredibly intelligent engagement with just the field of experience being present. Just seeing light, hearing sound, you keep holding your body up. I mean, look, you stand up and you walk. How do you do that, man? Look at this. There's no way you could, if you had to describe, now I'm going to move this muscle, now I'm going to move it. But effortlessly, you just do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing power. That's amazing competence. And you are what does that. So even though we discount that, and as human, I mean, it's basically what we're talking about here. Even though as a human being we discount that and we ignore that and we take that for granted and just think of it as a given, in actual fact, we are that. We are that incredible intelligence and competence.
Hey, I've been being able to get in contact with that more and seeing through, like by me being able to see that my thinking mind is false and irrelevant and non-servitude to any purpose whatsoever that I truly care about.
Yeah.
By me seeing that is by me letting it go, giving it up.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'm doing better in my music. Everything I'm doing better because I'm being more consciously aware, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But sometimes that thinking mind comes in.
Yeah, it's always there. It's a pain in the ass, but But again, it's not the whole story.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like if I think something with my mind, I feel like then all of a sudden it's gonna sling something into consciousness. Like if I quit smoking cigarettes, by the way. Like I never really did that much, but I'll smoke a cigarette and then I'll be like, oh, what if I die off this cigarette? Like this pain in my lung right now, what if that turns into cancer or something? And like I'm the biggest sabotager, and I'm the biggest, most hardest person on himself. Like I'm so hard on myself, and I take it to levels where only like traumatized people and post-traumatic stress people take it to, and like I can't even like cry, like I can't even get in touch with my emotions, and that's really all I really want to do. So I'm trying so hard to I'm afraid because I've seen how people's lives are getting destroyed by drugs and by their lack of consciousness, and I'm trying with all my might, and I'm so afraid, and my drive is becoming so clear to me that what I need to focus on and what I do not need to focus on. And that's through survival, because I'm homeless now. That's why I'm here tonight, because I'm not in that program anymore. And I've enjoyed the most blessed last 2 nights of sleep by sleeping outside. And it's just such a blessing to be able to be in this room right now and just in this situation that I'm in, because only when I don't know what's going to happen and it doesn't bother me, then I can be positive. But if I think I know everything and I think I know how everything's going to pan out, I give up, I lose faith. I see through it, and then I'm stuck in it behind here. And until I can get out of it, then I'm not free and I'm not happy. I feel lost.
But see, you've got a lot of competence. You've got a lot of assets. You had the wit to give up smoking. I mean, that's huge. That's great. You have the wit to perceive and understand what you just said. You know, about how seeing the value of being real, of being free, of realizing you don't really know what's going to happen, and just living your life as best you can, moment to moment, which is all we ever do anyway. We just pretend otherwise, right? It's all just a lot of bravado. And so you have that, and even though you may be wrestling with the mental things that seem to be a problem, you also have a lot going for you. You have a lot on your side in terms of your ability to take good steps for yourself, to do things that work for you. So that's great.
It's just I spend a lot of time in my head, and I spend a lot of time giving these thoughts and these feelings energy and my power, and like weakening me and dehydrating me and just killing me.
But then you
can
say that.
I'm feeding that wolf. I feel like I'm feeding that wolf, and I'm almost like a little scared. Like,
but then you can say that means you're aware of that, and that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, most people are like that. They don't even know that's happening. They're just lost and gone. But you can see that. You can say that. You can grapple with that. So that's a lot of self-awareness, which is a huge asset. It gives you a lot of power. It may still be a challenge, but that means you have a lot going for you. You have a lot on your side in terms of, and a lot of assets to draw on.
Thanks, Peter.
Of course. It's great to see you.
Nice to see you too. It's like after all that thinking me, after all that mind me, I wonder where the real me is. Like I feel the real me sometimes. Like I feel like I want to have emotion. I want to cry. Like I feel these heartbeats of crying. But like and I for a second I'm aware that that's the real me. That's the real feelings but they don't match with my mind and my thinking mind. And then I'm not able. And then it's like my thinking mind. Like, well, I'm not able to like go there because I've been going here so long, like repetitively. So this is who I am now. And it's like now every time I'm like getting closer to the other side, I still can also perceive that other side, that thinking side, the side that I'm not happy with being there. And then I'm like, oh well, this is what's preventing me. So I'm trying my hardest to draw myself towards the other side, the side that you say is beneficial, and that's my goal.
But you're all of it. You're not one or the other. You're all of it, and you're the struggle, and you're engaged in it, and it's just called real life. I mean, everyone's where you're at in one sense or another. I mean, everyone's in a slightly different situation and looks different and so on, but everyone grapples with these same kinds of issues.
Yeah.
But you got a lot going for you.
So Peter, I'm trying to figure out whether, well, one, I have a much stronger sense of this experience. I mean,
Sure.
It is, it's so strong. It's like stereo. So what I'm trying to, and the other thing that goes along with that is, it doesn't seem to go away as much, but also I get this sense that it was always there.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, there's sort of this eternal aspect of it. So, but my question is, is my sense just getting stronger of it? And
Sure.
the, sort of corresponding some of the problems and some of the, some of the sort of daily experiences
Okay.
are lessened. They seem smaller.
Sure.
I mean, everything seems smaller.
Yeah. Well, see what happens. It's not that anything is changing. It's that as you develop, spontaneously as you unfold into this, you develop greater and greater sensitivity to what it is. You could say greater and greater appreciation of it, and it becomes clearer and clearer that all the things that used to seem to be problems or distractions from it, or so on, so on and so forth, is actually it too. So this sort of duality, this sort of bifurcation, where there's, this amazing thing, and then the shit of life. It seems it's not really these two things. It's really just that has always been just an aspect of this, and so it all just merges in this amazingness.
Yeah, so I was trying to focus on on time or the past or my memory. And
good luck with that one.
I was trying to remember something that happened, like in my, when my children were first little, and I was actually trying to go back year by year, like maybe making a chart with these, and just all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. It was like I mentally just threw that thing up in the air and just watched these little things.
Sure.
Falling down, and I just said, well, it really doesn't make a difference when that happened.
Yeah.
It actually was happening like then, in my experience.
Very good. Yeah, we don't have to. You don't have to make sense of things. You don't have to have a narrative. You don't have to have a human. This happened. This happened. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This blah 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 blah. I mean, we're sort of brainwashed to think we're supposed to be able to do that as human beings, but actually nothing is gained from that whatsoever. And it's all right here now.
Yeah.
I mean, your relationship with your kids is here now. Your experiences of what happened is available when you need them, to the extent you do. They show up, even if it's a little hazy, but it hasn't gone anywhere.
Well, what I felt during that experience was, I mean, it was just all made up.
Yeah, exactly.
It
is. It's literally made up.
It was just great having them fall in little pieces in a random pattern, as it was to try and get this.
Exactly, and it's so much easier.
Yeah.
just let go.
I just pick one and see what that one.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Throw it away and look at the other one.
Yeah. I mean, when you settle into just actuality, you discover two things. Number one, that actually does everything. It always has been, and it's just been a pretense that there's all this other stuff that we've been doing that we think is so important. It actually doesn't do shit. Actuality, the present moment, actually takes care of everything that needs to happen already. Always has been. Number one. And number two, you discover letting go of all that. There's just this wonderful richness and fullness and lusciousness and ease. It's always right here that you are. And so, I mean, it's just a win-win. I mean, it's it's so obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't feel any discomfort or anything in trying to do that exercise of putting things. I mean, I just saw it was.
Yeah, and it's all good. And you can do that, and you don't lose anything by doing that either. You don't gain anything, but you don't lose anything. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can think or you can space out, and it's all, it's all good. It's impossible to lose anything, and it's impossible to gain anything. And here you are, like always.
Have you ever seen something impossible happen? Because one time I was playing this dice game where we throw it off the wall. I threw the dice off the wall, and one of them, it just, as soon as it bounced off the wall, it landed on the ground. It was standing on one of its corners, which is like impossible to do. And the other one just went bouncing like all over the place. And it was a trip. And I took pictures of it, and I looked, and there was nothing holding it up. And if you try to put it back on its tilt again, you couldn't. Like no matter how hard you tried. and it was just such a trip. I was like, I've never seen anything like that, and I have seen some crazy things. Like, because I play basketball, I won't even look at the hoop. I just throw it as high as I can, and I'm looking, and I'll just go right in. I'm like, whoa, like I know there's some divine mathematics and symmetry and harmony going on.
Sure.
But,
That's what's doing everything.
Yeah, I know there's some things
Anything can happen.
Impossible. It's possible. The impossible is possible sometimes.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Possible or impossible is just people's theories.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything impossible happen?
Sure.
They're not getting anything. They try to refresh him, so I don't know.
According to my end, it's looking good, so I don't know what to say.
Let me see.
My computer thinks I'm broadcasting. Folly.
Hey, my name's Justin, and it says Justin TV.
That's right. That's right.
That's cool.
Coincidence or conspiracy?
So how do we like let go into the, like I know how, like you've explained it tonight, but having that stuckness, I feel like I'm always holding on to something. I feel like my mind, with that thought mind, I feel like I'm always like constricted by it and holding on to it. And I feel like anytime I can be conscious of it and then do what we were talking about, like just realizing that it's not that serious or whatever, and just letting it go and expand into the bigger thing, where you cannot be played by it or ruled by it. And that's what it's all about. You know?
It's simpler than that.
'Cause I feel stuck.
Whenever you're contracted, whenever you're stuck, whenever you're holding on,
Yeah.
it just feels like you're contracted. It feels like you're stuck. It feels like you're holding on. How can you ever really actually hold on? How can you ever actually be stuck?
I think it's
I
like
mean, here you are.
I need like a back rub or something like that. Get the nerves like.
Yeah, but it's just that. Look, here, watch. You can go like this, right? You can do that, but so what? Nothing happened, right? I'm just like, okay, and then you can loosen up, and okay, so nothing was lost when I did this, and nothing's gained when I do that. It's just a matter, so stuckness is just, the fantasy of stuckness. It's like building. It's like imagining something terrible is going to happen, and you get all, oh my God, what if that happened? It would be horrible. Oh no, no, no. But it's not happening. It's just tightening up around the fantasy. And when you tighten up, nothing has happened. Here you are. Nothing's going on. It's all cool, right?
I feel like it's my responsibility to be consciously aware of what I need. Because if I'm hungry, I need to eat. If I'm cold, I need to get warm. If I'm tired, I need to go.
You don't even need to do that, because that happens by itself. Sooner or later, when you get hungry enough, you'll become aware of it. Sooner or later, when you get tired enough, you'll know it.
Yeah.
And you're a bright guy. You're sensitive. You don't need to pile on the pressure on yourself, because you'll spontaneously already do the best you can. You spontaneously already do the right thing. You're gonna do great, man. You're in good shape.
Thanks. I still feel something going on. I'll try.
You don't even need to. You will try, because it's your nature to. You wouldn't come to a meeting like this if you didn't have a lot of intelligence and an inquisitive nature and be really engaged with your situation. You wouldn't be here. Well, I mean, what the fuck is this?
Well, I love this. It's everything that I'm doing wrong, and the consequences that can come about from doing those things, the wear and tear of the consequences of how I'm misusing my mind by stressful thinking and stuff like that. This is the thing that I'm worried about, afraid of, and lost and stuck in, as long as I'm not consciously able to see my way out of these habitual, patternistic forms of thought.
But just being aware of that is 90% of the battle. You don't. It's not like you even need to do anything about it. Just the awareness alone is gonna take care of it for you in the long run. You're doing great, man.
Because you know what's happening to me is thing after thing after thing after thing after thing is compiling up against me. Like this sweater on me right now is like making me too hot. The fact that I need a couple cups of water in me, that's making me more hot, more dehydrated, and it's like it's wear and tear, all the things adding up. So I guess I just need to put more conscious attention and awareness to these situations.
It takes care of itself. You know, sooner or later you'll realize, oh man, I really need to get some water. Sooner or later you go, God, I'm roasting. I got to take my sweater off.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's no harm, no foul. You know, it's like things get a little out of whack, and then and when they get to the point where it's, you know, you realize, shit, I've got to do something about this, and you do,
Yeah.
and it's all good.
You're right. I go to sleep. I have a blessed night of sleep, and then I pray before I go to sleep. Then I wake up and I try to keep my mind as free as possible, and I do that every day. And I try to live every day a little bit better. I try.
But say the fact that you're even aware of that, the fact that that's even a part of your sense of yourself is huge, man.
Thank you.
I mean, you're not just out there fucking up and you know and being a jerk.
Yeah.
You know, you're
there.
well, sure, everyone has.
Yeah.
You know, it's human nature. No saints wandering around here.
I feel like that's my ultimate goal, to be a saint.
Well, you can do it.
Yeah.
You are it. You're transcendental intelligence. You just got to grow into it, and you will grow into it because you're very young. You know, give yourself a break.
I just miss my family, like my grandma and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just I miss like that feeling like everything's okay, you know.
Well, that's part of growing up too. You know, you sort of realize you're on your own, and you're yourself, and it's your life, and that after a while you kind of settle into that, and then before you know it, you're the grandpa. Happens fast. Notice how earlier when we were doing the meditation, feeling the presence, feeling what is here, it hasn't gone anywhere, has it? You don't need to be meditating on it or noticing it or doing anything, and it's still the same, just this, always the same. Can't make it go away. Ain't no off switch. These people, it's so easy to think what we think and what we do is so important and matters so much, but in actuality, it's all just a bunch of games. We don't ever actually gain anything or lose anything. It's always just you here, as always. Always looks different, but it never gets more or less than just you here.
I think that's something people do. They because somebody who's advanced and have already been there and done that, they'll see that it's not that serious or important. They think it's funny, but the other person's 100% serious and 100% devoted to it.
Sure.
And it's like, I think we like to categorize things, and I think emotionally we put one thing in a category, mix and overlap it with like the outer perception that it's this, when really deep down it's something else. And I think humans are like really about that. Yeah.
It's part of a process, Being a human is a very strange. It looks like a very strange process, and when you get older, you look back on it and you see the continuity of it. And you see that what you went through brings you to where you are, even though you didn't. you didn't actually have to, you didn't actually get anything by going through it, but nonetheless, it's how it works.
Peter, what is it? What actually is carried from life to life that you mind it? Is it the patterns of?
No. Only there's only one thing, and that one thing is always right here, and it's what you are. And there's no life to life. It's just this here now. But what is here is completely beyond the patterns it presents in. So the patterns can present and can seem to have various degrees of continuity, or can seem to have absolute discontinuity. It's irrelevant, because the patterns are a symptom of what is here, not the other way around. It's like when you go to sleep, your entire waking life disappears. And it may reconstitute somewhat in the dream, or not, and it may reconstitute somewhat when you wake up, or not. Or maybe you die and then it doesn't even reconstitute at all, or maybe it reconstitutes in some radically different way, but the actual event has not changed at all. What it looks like changes, but the event consists of looking like anything. You know, what this is never departs from what it is, but it can look like absolutely anything, and it will always present with absolute unresolvability, infinite quantity of apparition, and absolute dynamism, and with no repetition whatsoever, no actual coherence at all, and then any seeming coherence that is
like united in some form of way. Like, because I know me alone, I'd be like a caveman that didn't know how to make fire if I came here and I didn't have any of you guys to help me. Like, if I was alone, like, I wouldn't be watching wouldn't be complaining. I'm complaining about being able to watch movies, like, oh, I wish that everything was like it was in the 80s, like, or whatever it was, you know? And it's like, without anything, I mean, I wouldn't be able to enjoy anything, and without everybody, like, I would be miserable. And I think I realized that, you know? But onto what level, like, how to connect to that, you know, I think it's, like, I used to use, like, through God, but now I'm starting to realize it's my responsibility mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually to put my end of it together, you know, and then that's how you connect with God. Like, that's why they say, like, God helps us to help themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's like, sure. I think anybody's making everything so beautiful, and I think that people should be more nice and loving towards one another, and more like, you know.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of, the reality presents with a lot of support. Reality presents with a lot of generosity and a lot of opportunity. And as an individual, you have the ability to take advantage of all this and benefit from it. And even if you aren't taking advantage of it, sometimes it's forced on you. You know.
I feel like that too. Like if everything is like that and we're all like in it together, then I might not like the consequences, because if the world's going down, then that must mean like I'm going down too, and that kind of hurts me even more.
No, I'll tell you a secret.
Yeah.
This is all your dream.
Oh no, that's scary.
No, man, that's the good news. That's the good news, because since it's all your dream, nothing can hurt you. And everything, and yet when you dream, these things come to you, help you. Things come to you what you need them. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And isn't that what happens? Sometimes things come to you when you need them. Sometimes they don't.
I'm kind of scared, because I believe you. The last time I came, I was telling you about how I'd always be running into people one after the next, as if it was like meant to be. And it's like it's a trip, because that's all that's been happening to me.
Sure.
Like as soon as I'll be like, what am I gonna do right now? Like, I don't have anything to do. All of a sudden my phone will ring, or I'll see somebody like right there that I like was like need to see or something. It's just like really, really. And now I'm there. You know,
exactly. What I just told you is the truth. I don't know the extent to which you'll appreciate it, but it's absolutely the truth, and it's actually good news that that's the case.
Yeah. I'm still scared.
It's okay. Nothing to be scared of. Nothing to be scared of anything than any reason more than you've ever been scared of anything. And here you are. What's the problem? Everything you've ever been scared of, here you are, and where's it all now?
It's working. It's working its way into You know, my cavities are piling up. Like everything's piling up. The collapse of the dollar is gonna come. Whatever else is gonna come, it's gonna
Yeah,
come.
but that all, it's just a dream, so that stuff comes and goes and it doesn't really matter. It just looks different. Everyone's body falls apart eventually. I mean, most people in this room are a lot older than you. We're more actively in that, but that's inevitable. But since it's a dream, that doesn't even matter. Your body falls apart. And what happens in a dream when your body falls apart? You wake up, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I was with this guy and he does like drugs and stuff, and he's told me like, oh well, you're worried about your body or whatever. Like my bones hurt like every time it gets cold. Like I'm like whoa, like I'm like man, I'm way worried like a million times more than you're worried about yourself. I'm worried about myself for like no reason, and I'm like whoa, like why am I doing this to myself? I don't know why I do it to myself.
But hey, everyone does things that are less than optimum, but everyone also does things that are good for themselves, and that's part of the art form of becoming who you are. Is you learn, you learn about that, and you learn, you learn how to do your best. You learn how to do better for yourself. It all takes care of itself. But you have resources to draw on. You have a good nature. You're not a jerk. You're an intelligent guy. You're an inquisitive guy. You have aspiration. You have a really good heart, and that's wonderful assets. It'll stand you in good stead in the long run. But everyone has to go through what they have to go through. No one has a free pass.
Yeah. I still feel really sorry and guilty and stuff, and I think that's what drives me to have more compassion towards others and to like open up to change. So I think like some of the worst things in my life are like some of the things that like lead me to like the best things that are gonna come out of my life.
Sure.
And I think that's really weird because I always used to think from a Christian perspective like good versus bad and this versus that, and it never worked for me, and I struggled for many years dealing with that. And just trying to piece this puzzle together, man. Every time I come in here, you answer all the questions that I have, even if I don't even ask them out loud, you'll be answering them. And it's like the only other place I've ever experienced that is in church. And so it's just meant to be because it only happens when it's meant to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Synchronicity, it's really nice.
Synchronicity runs everything. Synchronicity is how everything works, and since synchronicity is a benevolent magic, how nice. Enjoy it.
Big theme my mind, I'm almost 56, and one of the standard sort of peoples often rehashed, it arises as a bittersweet nostalgia opportunities in the past, things that feel like they could have happened, mistakes and so forth, and although I'm running out of time, and there's just no faint sense really doesn't matter. It's not a linear situation, but that not as vivid as it can be, but it's there. It is starting to undermine that sense of like, geez, I screwed up my life.
But all of that is fantasy. All of that is projection of not of actuality. If things had been different, then things would be different. but all of that is nothing. It's not real. It's not true. And only what's real has power, and the power that what's real has is ultimate power and ultimate benevolence. The fact that you are where you are is a great blessing, it's a great advantage, it's incredibly lucky. And you had to do exactly everything that you did just the way you did to get you where you are. And you may or may not appreciate that at any given moment, but it's definitely the case. So you're never anywhere where you're not supposed to be. I mean, that's just pure fantasy. How could that happen?
What arises is a sense that, say, back in high school, I could have had this relationship. I would have thought about happiness. Didn't happen. Happiness is lost.
Forever.
That type of a theme. It's not necessarily repetitive in the mind in those concrete terms, but a sort of lingering sense of having this goal.
Right. No, I understand.
Become an airline pilot.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. But again, the upside of all of the missed opportunities and failures and so on is you develop sensitivity to appreciate actuality, which in the long run is the only sensitivity that counts and the only asset that counts. I don't think I'm putting that very articulately.
I can help out, man. Like lately, I've been like going through this same thing. Like last night, I was been thinking about it. Like all of the things that I mean, I had this thing like where my mom used to like, even if she did do stuff good for me, like growing up, like I would just see her for the worst thing she did. She never was there for me. She never cared about me. She never helped me. And these are things that I honestly believe when they couldn't be true. And so my mind has this tendency to take the past as if it wasn't that great, as if it wasn't good, as if it wasn't blessed, as if I have no more God in my life today than I did back then, as if I don't have any God in my life, like I've never had God in my life before. And I think it has something to do with a memory or like a false. But the whole thing is that all throughout my life, every single moment, there has been God there. There has been some form of communication with people that has made me laugh, something to make me smile. And it's like, everything that I can't remember, and my tendency to take it all for granted and to be negative and pessimistic, that's something that's hurting me throughout my entire life. But I need to change that because otherwise, I'm not going to be able to perceive my life in the present well or in the past